Granmommy. We're so happy to see you and appreciate you coming by. Today we're going to be making something, yeah, everybody loves. Mac and cheese. Gooey and cheesy. Yeah, from the youngest to the oldest, we all love it. It's some really good comfort food. Now remember, at Granmommy's house, food is all about love and everybody's welcome. So, let's get cooking. Alright, so good mac and cheese. Of course, you know that I think every good recipe starts with butter. So this recipe starts out with 6 tablespoons of butter. I've got my pan on medium, high, and I'm going to let that butter melt. This recipe is very simple. It includes butter, little salt and pepper, flour, milk, and pasta. Velveeta cheese makes it cheesy. So it's pretty simple. While my butter is melting in the pan, I'm going to go ahead and get the Velveeta ready. Calls for 1 pound, that's 2-pound box. I'm going to pull out half of it. Cut this up into chunks. Now, I've already started my water boiling to cook the pasta. So the Velveeta, I'm just going to take my cheese knife, chunk it up. Use any kind of knife you got. This kind of knife just helps to keep the cheese, because it's a solid mass, it keeps it from sticking to the knife. But anything will work. As you can see, this is really soft and easy to cut up. So now that's all in smaller pieces, so it will melt a little faster and a little smoother when we put it into the pan. Alright, my butter is melting along, as you can see. I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of flour. Stir that together. Now, several of the grandkids here have helped make this already. They've learned how to go through the steps. And it is that kind of recipe that they can step in and help you stir and help you pour in ingredients. I'm going to add a little bit of salt here, about 3/4 of a teaspoon. And a little pepper. Just 1/4 of a teaspoon for that. You can change that up for yourself depending on your own personal taste and what your family likes. Stir that in. That's good and thick now. You can see how it just makes a thick paste. Once you get to this point, you just put your milk in. For 1 pound of pasta, we're going to use 4 cups of milk. Small problem. Look at that. 4 cups of milk goes in. And now that flour and butter roux that we made will help thicken this milk. Take just a few minutes for that milk to get warm and to start thickening up. This recipe is very easy to freeze. It makes a large pan full, and for Grandpa and I, that's a lot. So I can make this recipe, and then I'll use just some small Tupperware containers, and that'll be a couple servings, and put those in the freezer. You can thaw it out, or I've actually taken it right from the freezer, and I'll put it in, I'll take a small non-stick skillet or a large one, put some water in the bottom, and put the frozen right in there, and on like medium-low. It'll take you a few minutes, but eventually it will just thaw out and be nice and creamy. As it's thawing out, you can always add a little more water to it, and it will stay very creamy. This is a good recipe for potlucks, for picnics because it makes a lot. And trust me, everybody's going to love it. And there's so many things you can add to mac and cheese. We kind of keep ours pure and simple, but I've seen you can add ham, you can have bacon, you can add broccoli. There are many things that you could throw in depending on your own taste and what you want to serve it with. But you know, mac and cheese can be a meal of its own, right? Maybe with a little salad on the side, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to let that cook just for a second and get warmed up. Waiting for my water here to boil so I can put in the pasta. I like to use, these are called large elbow macaroni. You can use any pasta you want to, but the large ones just work out well, and they have a larger opening, so more sauce, more of that cheesy goodness gets into the pasta. You know, the last couple of weeks I mentioned a few proverbs that talk about our words, about pleasant words, how they bring healing, about the power of life and death in your tongue, in your words, in your mouth. I was reading something yesterday. Those were from Proverbs in the Bible, but I was reading something yesterday in a book called Words in Your Brain. And I actually read that negative words, whether you're speaking them or hearing them, produce stress hormones. Stress chemicals in your body. Isn't that interesting? And it said it didn't even matter if you were speaking the words or if someone was speaking them to you. But even if, let's say, you listen to a TV or a radio program and people were arguing, that stress even affects, or those negative words even affect your body's putting out stress chemicals. Isn't that crazy? So, you know, just a good reminder to be careful of not only your own words, but of the words you hear and you listen to. Maybe pay attention to what's happening on the radio, in your music, or on TV, so that you are calm and peaceful instead of having stress chemicals being produced in your body, which really can lead to a lot of sickness too. So, just a tip from Granmommy. Let's stay joyful, let's stay peaceful and positive. Speak positive words, pleasant words to others and also to ourselves. Sometimes we can be awfully self-critical. But let's start changing that. Let's talk about good things, like good food. And when you bring people together for good food, that always brings a lot of pleasant words and happy tummies. School's going to be out this week, so that means we'll get to have more videos with some grandkids in it. As a matter of fact, it's June today, and you know what the month of June brings? Strawberries! Beautiful, delicious Michigan strawberries. So you're going to be seeing a video of grandkids making their own strawberry jam. We're going to make some strawberry pies one day. And my favorite, strawberry shortcake. So you've got that to look forward to, but they say next week the berries should be in. So if you haven't taken the kids out to pick berries, or if you haven't done that for yourself in a while, you might want to go out and get some. They're only around for about 3 weeks once they start coming in. And yeah, they can pick them for you too. So you can find those over at Perrin's on Front Street or out at Whitaker's. Another spot, Stotts on Auburn Road, they have them already picked, or you can pick. But, you know, enjoy them while they're here because they don't last long. But they are so good and sweet and nice and red all the way through. Not like the grocery store strawberries that are white in the middle. These are good red berries. So, heads up on that, and plan on watching the videos through June so that you can pick up a couple of tips and recipes to use with those strawberries. We're starting to get thickened here on the milk and the flour and the butter. Our pasta water is just about to take off boiling. Now when I make strawberry jam, just a note, we make the freezer jam because it tastes just like the fresh picked berries. So good. Another special we're going to have coming in the month of June, I have this huge dining room table with 4 leaves that can seat 12 to 14 people. And we're going to replace it. We're still getting a big table. But we've had this one for 20 years and it has seen so many people sit down and have a meal together. So, before we send this one off to a new home, which thankfully my granddaughter is going to take, so it will still be in the family, but we are going to have the Last Supper during June. So we're going to have a video from the Last Supper at Grandmommy's dining room table before the Amish oak table finds a new home and the new table comes in. And my granddaughter from Iowa will be in for that. I think I have a request for that simple Alfredo sauce and some grilled chicken. So we'll get to have a nice video of everyone sitting together around the table. My water's ready for the pasta. Pour that box in. Where'd my Siri go? I've lost my timer. Well, give this pot a stir. So that will cook for about 7 minutes. This is getting nice and thick. Beautiful. Oh, there's Miss Siri laying on the table. Let me grab her. Here we go. Hey Siri, set the timer for 7 minutes.
Your timer is set for 7 minutes.
Yay! So nice to have a cooking assistant when you don't misplace her. Alright, so the pasta's starting to cook. This is getting nice and thick. Gonna stir that pasta pan once more and make sure my noodles aren't sticking on the bottom. Okay. Alright, our very last step then, now that the butter and flour, salt and pepper are in and the milk has thickened, is to put in the cheese. Drop this 1 pound of cheese cubes in. Now it's going to start to look cheesy, since it is mac and cheese, right? Not going to use my whisk because those big chunks of cheese get stuck in there. So I'll turn my heat down just a little and let the cheese start melting. I'm just stirring a little bit on the bottom. We don't want anything to stick. And just let the heat melt our cheese. I didn't realize when I put on my apron today it's actually orange, color of mac and cheese. It must have been a thought process, an unconscious thought process. If we're cooking with orange cheese, let's put on an orange apron. Coming together very nicely. While I'm stirring, let me remind you, if you would please subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be very much appreciated. You can jump over to Instagram to get the written recipe. And go to YouTube to become a subscriber. So if you would just hit that subscribe button, that would be terrific. So this is just about finished. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off since I have the electric stove. This burner will take a minute or two to cool down so I can finish melting the cheese with that burner turned off. I have always cooked on an electric stove. When I got my new kitchen People thought I would go to gas, but you know, I do a pretty good job with electric, so I just stuck with what I know in this case. The good news is these recipes work no matter what kind of stove you have. Siri will let us know when those pasta noodles are ready. And when everything's all set today, I'm going to use this foil pan. This is a good size, especially if you're taking something to a picnic or a party. And you don't have to worry about something getting left behind that can just be thrown away. And when I make a large pan like this, and I'm going to freeze parts of it, this way I can work right out of that pan. We can serve some for a meal and then put the leftovers in containers. But that will give you, this pan will give you an idea of what size and what amount this recipe will make. Alright, our cheese is melted, our sauce is nice and orange, and our noodles should be close. You give them a little stir. Yep. See what our timer has for us. 47 seconds. Almost mac and cheese time. Yum, yum. Now we're making this video like right around lunchtime, so guess what we're gonna have for lunch? Mac and cheese! There we go. Alright, turn off our pasta pan. I'm gonna drain these over in the sink. Noodles have been drained from the water. I've poured them into our serving pan, and now the sauce goes on. Look at that. Velvety, buttery cheese sauce. Take my spatula and slowly stir the sauce into the noodles. Look at that. And there you go. So, creamy mac and cheese, enjoy every bit of it. Thank you for joining us this week. I will see you next time. Be blessed and joyful. Have a wonderful week. Bye now.